Hello and welcome to Black Bear Atheist. Here we are at Matt Powell's channel doing another video on the series I am doing on a question response to evolution, basically presenting the case for creationism, which I don't think they have a case, but we're gonna hear him out and see if he's making any sense. I highly doubt it, but this is part three. Check out part one and part two. Let's get into the video.
And in creationism, we believe that dinosaurs lived recently. But according to evolution, dinosaurs lived 65 million years ago. Let's go ahead and do some science.
Hold on, would I even consider that a claim by evolution? I mean, according to like if you see like an evolution diagram and they put it out, it makes sense that dinosaurs show up when they did show up. But is that really a claim for from evolutionists or archaeologists? People who actually study fossils and dig up fossils. But then again, you see this in literally almost every Christian creationist that's trying to argue that evolution is wrong. They're mixing a bunch of sciences together that does not even apply to evolution. Like abiogenesis all of a sudden is part of evolution when it's not.
Scientific analysis of this as well. Let's see who's correct. We find dinosaur blood cells in
We find, or scientists find, the same people that you're saying are wrong, that evolution is actually not true.
dinosaur bones that are supposedly 65 million years old. These
Hold on, if there's people that are actually found this, scientists that found this, from what they found, deduct that these bones are 65 million years old. I'm sorry, who are you for us to take your credentials over people who actually study this? You're not a scientist. You actually don't study this. You don't even know what you're talking about. Let's keep going.
bioorganic materials that we're finding, like blood cells, blood vessels, hemoglobin in the blood. Check this out. There's over 16 types of bioorganic materials that are found in dinosaur bones. They're all biodegradable. Remember, that's what bioorganic even means. It means that it's material that will biodegrade. You have to ask this question. Could
And it's good to ask questions. It's a matter of are you actually asking questions to find out something, or you already came to a conclusion and you're just asking question not to even get the question answered. Like that's exactly what's going on here.
dinosaur blood last for 65 million years?
I mean, based on what they found, their explanations toward this, their explanation to why they actually found these things in dinosaurs' bones, the interesting way of it getting preserved over time. Scientists have always thought that was not possible until they found evidence that it actually is. You see, that's the interesting thing about science. It changes as we find more information, unlike having faith and just thinking God created everything. That doesn't change because you already came to a conclusion. You don't improve in your knowledge because you already believe you have all the knowledge. The scientists that found this are the same people that date the dinosaur bones 65 million years ago. And they cross reference with other scientists, and it's just not just one person writing it down, and all of a sudden we believe in it.
The answer is no. Some people will say that iron cross linking somehow preserved the
Some people are scientists. Scientists are not just some people like you, Matt, that has no credential in what he's saying.
dinosaur blood. Well, here's the thing. Even if you submerged that blood in iron, and then sealed that for millions of years, the blood is still going to deteriorate. Yes, iron can cause blood cells to be preserved for a short time, but for millions of years? Have you ever been to a relative's house and you see them can foods? That food that they have tried to seal up and preserve still will go bad over time, over just a
I'm sorry, what kind of example is that? Have you ever gone to a relative's house and see some canned food? Isn't that just a weird have you ever?
few years in some cases. And in the dinosaur bones, we also find carbon 14. Remember, carbon 14 only lasts 50,000 years. The half-life is 5,730 years, and so every 5,730 years, half of the C14 exits the bones. Well, how is it that these bones are loaded with C14? That's because they died recently, because these bones are not millions of years old. They weren't sitting in the ground for millions of years and got contaminated by C14 from the atmosphere. That's not what
Because you definitely know what the actual answer is. You know all of it from your amazing Bible. You see, none of this make any sense if you're claiming God just did it and God made dinosaurs alongside humans and we were walking right beside them. Even though there's no actual fossil record or any evidence, any hint of evidence pointing toward us.
happened. If they would have been contaminated by C14, it would have been contaminated by other things, and therefore it would have contaminated the blood that we find in the bones, and the blood cells would be non-existent. So you can look at this all sorts of different ways, and you can cross-reference these dinosaur findings, and just biologically, that's enough information for me to say, yes, God was right. Yes, the Bible is correct, that God created dinosaurs with man. The Bible
I'm sorry, how do you come from we found dinosaur bones with blood from that to yes, God made dinosaurs with humans. How does those two things connect? It doesn't. I guess I'm gonna answer my own question. It doesn't. I don't know where he's getting all this from.
says, Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. And many evolutionists for many years were laughing at this and saying that this is not a dinosaur because we know that dinosaurs don't eat grass. Well, one day some scientists had found some coprolites, dinosaur dung, and they analyzed it and they found that dinosaurs actually did eat grass. Check this article out. It says fossil dung reveals dinosaurs did graze grass. Textbooks have long taught that grasses did not become common until long after the dinosaurs died at the end of the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. Depicting dinosaurs munching on grass was considered by experts to be as foolish as showing prehistoric humans hunting dinosaurs with spears. But microscopic examination of the fossilized dinosaur dung from India now shows that the massive plant-eating dinosaurs munched heaping helpings of at least 5 different types of grass. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting how scientists are the one that discover all this and came to the conclusion based on what they discovered that dinosaurs actually eat grass, at least some of them. Not all of them, some of them. And the behemoth is not a dinosaur. And people, humans, and dinosaurs did not live in the same place. What kind of dumb claims are this? You actually have no evidence backing up your claims. So far, we're 30 minutes in, and no evidence so far, no evidence backing up creationism. You're just saying God did it, and how do we know again? The Bible. Obviously, the truth claim for everything, where we find answer for everything. The Bible.
Interesting that they would claim that the idea that dinosaurs ate grass was as silly as thinking that dinosaurs and man were living together. The Bible says about the brachiosaur, behemoth, it says he moveth his tail like a cedar, the sinews of his stones are wrapped together. The Bible is describing these dinosaurs, and it describes an animal that had a tail as big as a cedar tree. And
I mean, these are the same people that love metaphors. Couldn't this also just be a metaphor? Because out in the world, the people who wrote this, I believe the verse that he just presented was from Job, which was dated about like 3000 BC. So how did Job somehow met dinosaurs when there's no evidence of the dinosaur bones actually dating back just about 5,000 years ago? They don't date that back. They date way back than 5,000. Again, no evidence of dinosaurs actually living alongside humans.
theistic evolutionists who will compromise will say, well, that's an elephant that it's talking about. Well, excuse me, an elephant doesn't move its tail like a cedar tree. It's clear that this creature had a gigantic tail, that it was huge. And so you can look and compare the tail of an elephant or the tail of a hippopotamus, as they will claim behemoth was, with the tail of a brachiosaur.
I mean, if it was describing a dinosaur, why doesn't it just complete the details and tell us, well, he has a long neck, four legs, actually give a detailed description that none of us can miss, instead of giving us a bullshit ass claim that doesn't make any sense. Because these people did not know what dinosaurs were.
And it's pretty obvious what the truth is on that. In the creation model, we believe in what's known as Noah's flood. But according to evolution, uniformitarianism is true. And basically, what uniformitarianism is the idea that everything slowly accumulates geologically, that all of the layers that you see outside and see, like in the Grand Canyon, for example, are caused by local floods or just slow accumulation of rock layers over time.
This is not really a claim from evolution about, I mean, I don't even get this guy anymore. So, first, we bring abiogenesis into evolution. Second, we bring archaeologists into evolution. Now we bring in, I don't know, geologists into evolution. Like, it's not all connected. Yes, evolution branches out to archaeologists to find fossils to help present its case and fact to support its theory. But no, evolution is not about any of those things. The theory of evolution does not have anything to do with your biblical fairy tale flood. It really doesn't. Like evolution doesn't have a theory about some flood. Like that's not what actually is anything about evolution. While we're branching into this, I don't know, to confuse people.
And we can also do some comparative analysis between a global flood and local floods and see which one is correct. We actually find fossilized clams on the top of Mount Everest, and they're in the closed position, which means they were catastrophically buried and then pushed up the mountain through rapid plate tectonics, catastrophic plate tectonics. Because when a clam dies naturally in nature, it opens up because the muscle relaxes and a scavenger will come and eat them. These clams were closed shut. They were sealed by something so powerful that they could not even open when they died.
It was so powerful. It was a global flood, 40 days, 40 nights, that was sent by God to wipe out sinners on the planet of Earth. The people that he knew was going to sin, but obviously he had to let them live on to the day that he's going to wipe them all out. It all makes sense when you start looking at it and zooming out and putting the puzzles together. It all makes complete sense. When you start, ignoring literally every part of it, when you start not using your brain, it all makes sense.
Mount Everest is great evidence of Noah's flood because You're not going to get a mountain that big on this earth unless a catastrophic event takes place. And if you get a mountain,
Which scientists have actually explained. We know how mountains form, not a global flood. Mount Everest date back 50 to 60 million years ago. And we're finding life forms on it because at one point it was most likely underwater too. That's how hills form, that's how mountains form. The plate tectonics, which are, you know, below us, move, crash to each other, and form mountains.
that huge, that means that the event must have happened very quickly because mountains are actually eroding over time. Everything is going to erode flat over time. Mountains are eroding, hills are eroding, and yes, evolutionists make the claim that the plates are moving really slowly and that's what's forming the mountains. Look, gravity is going to pull
No, evolutionists or evolution does not make that claim because it's not connected to the theory of evolution.
those mountains down faster than they can be brought up by plate tectonics. If the plates are only moving 1 to 2 inches per year and slowly changing the landscape, that's not going to create something like this. It's not going to create any mountain. In fact, everything would just be flat everywhere. So,
If you think the Earth is 6,000 years old, I guess that makes sense because you're dumb. I'm sorry, people, but that's clearly what's going on here. If you think the Earth is 6,000 years old, obviously you're gonna think nothing is possible. But Mount Everest, dating back to 50 to 60 million years ago, that's a long ass time for it to get as high as it is. Over time, there's more than enough time for evolution to actually have its process. If we're still talking about evolution or we're just talking about geology, I don't even know at this point, people.
mountains are great evidence of Noah's flood. A well preserved whale fossil has been discovered on a California mountain. The nearly intact fossil of a whale has been unearthed at a construction site in Santa Cruz County. After
Now, I think here's where we're going to stop, but I must also point something out. I asked this question in church when I was my asking question, annoying pastors, trying to understand the Bible more, I guess, age. I had a few phases the last few years. This phase was in my teenage year, and I asked, I guess out of curiosity, obviously I was shut down. I was like, what happened to the fish? So Noah had there was a flood. Because if there was a big flood and it was taking the trees, it was taking everything, then the fish in the ocean life are going to just die. Most of them. If a flood for 40 days and 40 nights, it's taking them from places to places, mixing things that are supposed to be in salt to fresh water, mixing them all together. There's a lot that's going to die. So what happened to the fish? That was my question. And I was plainly I was plainly ignored by my pastor because it seems like a unreasonable question. But it was quite reasonable. What happened to the fish? I mean, Noah took two of each species of animals, but we're at about I mean, a 40 days of rain flooding the entire planet would have definitely affected the oceanic life. Very reasonable question, but I never got an answer. If anybody knows an answer, any questions out there, atheists who wanna charm in, what happened to the fish is a quite interesting question. And that's where we're gonna end part three of Matt Powell's rant. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking by. Catch you all next time on part four. Have a lovely day, people.